Today, I have something special for you. Every month in the Safety Network, I bring in an expert to teach a masterclass exclusively for Safety Network members. So to give you a little preview of what you can expect in this month's masterclass, I am chatting with David Alto from Alto Advance. David is from Kennewick, Washington, and he specializes in getting your resume past those resume bots that may be holding you back. His company, Alto Advance, can help you with resume, LinkedIn, and interview coaching. Does LinkedIn kind of intimidate you? Are you not using it because you're currently not job hunting? Well, today, David is going to share how you can use LinkedIn to showcase your expertise and start to build a meaningful network, even if you only have a handful of followers. Let's get to it. Well, hey there. Thank you, David. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm super excited to talk to you today. Why don't we start off with you just kind of introducing yourself to the audience and telling us what Alto Advance is about?
Sure. Thank you for having me on. My name is David Alto, owner of Alto Advance. And, in simplest terms, we really help job seekers land jobs faster by using various things, but that are really some really simple things, including LinkedIn, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
That's awesome. Yeah, LinkedIn is definitely a great tool for people to look for when they're trying to land a job. How would you describe LinkedIn to somebody who isn't an avid user or doesn't really use it?
Sure, and I get it too. If you're not very familiar, you think that it is just a place for job seekers.
Yeah, recruiters. I know. That's what I used to think it was too.
Right? Yeah, and I did too as a job seeker when I came onto LinkedIn. But it's more than that. It really is everything that Facebook, the good stuff about Facebook. I mean, you can join groups, you can message people, you can comment and engage on their content. And it's not this boring business platform. Now I spend literally all day when I'm not helping clients. I'm on LinkedIn engaging in conversation with new people, people that I've been connected with in industry or just people around the world. It is a networking event that just happens to be open all the time. So I think if you take that approach, and it's just not that boring business platform that everybody thinks it is.
Have you seen it change over the years? Like, I remember getting on LinkedIn, 10 plus years ago. And I did see it as that, just like this is just for jobs. So what kind of changes have you kind of noticed over the years?
Sure. And you're right. I started my account in 2012, but didn't do much with it. I was a job seeker at the time. And what it's because of, video, and I think that the more people used it as a tool to build and nurture relationships,
yes,
the more people were chatting behind the scenes. And now, because recruiters and hiring managers are going here to look at somebody, maybe they have an interview with them, right? And look, they have the resume, they don't know what they look like, so they go and spy on their LinkedIn. But I think because of that, now people have to go, oh my God, now I need to show up on LinkedIn, right? I need to have a nice picture. It does need to really allow me to stand out amongst the other applicants. And I think that that's why it's slowly become more of a networking platform. Still only about 800 million users, and compared to like Instagram and Facebook, it's a very, very, very small amount.
Yeah, it is. But I'll tell you, like when I was looking, what I did was I was searching for somebody to help my audience with LinkedIn. And what did I do? That's where I found you. And I just reached out to you and said, hey, can we chat? And you said yes. And I think that is the amazing part of LinkedIn that people just don't realize, is that you can connect with people and then message them and then actually start that networking. So
well, I think what, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Regardless of you're a job seeker, regardless of why you're on LinkedIn, everybody on LinkedIn is there to sell something. If you're a job seeker, you're selling yourself, right? Lighting with those new jobs. But B2B happens, B2C happens, everything happens on LinkedIn. But, you can't be that spammy person, that Bitcoin, person on LinkedIn that goes and, DMs you right away. You have to build and nurture relationships. If you do that over time, then the business will come to you, whether it's in referrals or people just, know you over the years, that they see your advice, they see your tips, they see you show up. So they maybe they don't quite know you, but they kind of feel like they know the value add that you provide and are willing, to, promote you and refer you, to others.
I love that idea. So first off, I have to interject here that just anybody listening, LinkedIn is not a dating site, so please stop. But anyway, what I love what you're saying is that even if you're not a job seeker, you can then be seen as like an expert in your profession and in your field by creating this value by posting and commenting and joining groups and things like that, right? So are you saying that like everybody should be on LinkedIn?
Yeah, because let's face it. Again, B2B happens, B2C happens. I happen to know he's become a friend now, but he has a lawn service, and he has scaled this thing multiple states now because of the funny kind of engagement that he does on LinkedIn. And you wouldn't think that, and people think. People even occasionally say, "Oh my God, Dave, I can't believe the video you shared. That belongs on Facebook." But then that person interacted, and so did 50,000 people as well too on that post. So again, you post what you want to post, just like you do on Facebook. It doesn't have to be always boring business stuff, because we get to know people when we get to know people, right? About what they do. It's okay to share a vacation photo or whatever, but then maybe relate it to something you do. But heck yeah, I'll do lives on vacation where I'm at, just because maybe people want to see, or maybe I'll talk about something about the surroundings or whatever in my post that relates to what I do. But people build relationships when they can see and know something about him or her other than their job, right? Your friends, not just with what they do in life, but their hobbies and stuff. So that's why sharing a variety of content on LinkedIn works. And it obviously works because if this simple guy can leave his day job and do what I do, posting sometimes silly stuff or sharing a photo of my dog, then anybody can grow and build their their network on LinkedIn.
We are all now going to stop listening and go check out David's LinkedIn and go, what is he posting? I want to post the same thing. That's awesome because, when you talk about the lawn service guy, I actually have a friend who is a wellness instructor. And she is trying to build her following on LinkedIn, and she's very local. So even local people can end up building their following on there. What do you think makes LinkedIn different than Facebook? I know Facebook sometimes gets a lot of hate right now, and it just feels different to me when I'm on LinkedIn versus Facebook. It just doesn't feel as creepy, I guess, for some reason. But what do you think the difference is?
I think over the past 4 or 5 years, people like most of the things about Facebook. And when they found that they can kind of move that over to LinkedIn as well, and it isn't as negative, I've had people, kind of bully me or bully other people on LinkedIn. And you're just going to have that.
Trolls are everywhere.
That's right. But LinkedIn, so who's on LinkedIn? The people that make the decisions and people have a little bit, there's people with a little bit more, cash flow on LinkedIn, and it is global, and most people understand that it is a networking event, and that networking events don't have to be boring, right?
No.
So it has a lot of similarities to Facebook without, yes, the stalkers and less bullying, and but if you take that approach, and again, that's why I think LinkedIn has really become a different type of platform. 3 years ago, you would never see somebody posting a video of their cat or their dog.
I know. That's a big difference.
You just wouldn't. Now, it doesn't mean that it was like against the rules or anything like that.
Right.
But
they just didn't do it, and now you see
they
it all
just
the
didn't
time.
do it. But because I think of the slight migration from Facebook here, people still want maybe some of that fuzzy, warm feeling over here on LinkedIn as well. So I think that's why.
That's really interesting. It is more positive to me than it is negative. Like, I see a lot more negative stuff on the other social media platforms than I do LinkedIn. But I do love the fact that you're seeing stuff like people are posting about their kids, or they're posting about their cats or their dogs and stuff like that. It does make it a lot more fun to go in there. So you're kind of getting you're getting the positive environment, but then you're also getting the business environment too. Yes. And maybe it's just because we are professionals, like most of the people that are in there, they're there for work, that maybe it's kind of like setting the tone of a proper etiquette in there. I'm not really sure.
Well, think about this. I mean, I don't want to talk shop all the time.
No,
right?
I know, right?
We don't want to talk shop all the time. So that being said, so when I post a funny video or whatever, but guess what? The message in the post has something to do with what I do.
Right.
So again, I could still post a funny video, but then it somewhat relates to, again, there's still the message or the tips or tricks or the whatever I'm sharing. So the video, or whether it's a photo of my dog or whatever, there's still a message, I guess, behind it. It's not just, hey, see my 1-year-old, French bulldog. Maybe he or she's doing a trick or whatever, and I'm talking about, how do you teach or how do you mentor people, right? So again, I guess the delivery method is the video or the photo, but the content is still somewhat, I guess you could say, business related.
So if people were just starting out on LinkedIn and they're not really looking for a job right now, so they're just posting whatever, are there things that they should be cautious about so that way future employers don't get turned off by something that they've posted?
Sure. So HR used to go on Facebook to find out reasons not to hire you.
Yeah, I'm sure they still try.
They do, but people go to LinkedIn to find reasons to, in fact, hire you. So companies are more mindful nowadays of people that are brand ambassadors, meaning, I'm happy with my job, but occasionally I'm posting that we have an opening in this department that we're having a hard time filling, or it's a ribbon cutting, or it's a ribbon cutting of a charitable, something that we're doing, right? So if I'm posting things like that and I'm happy with my current job, even if I'm new to LinkedIn and only gets one like, and that's from my brother or whatever, it doesn't get much engagement, right? But still, now when I go to apply for those jobs, that hiring manager sees that post and they think, well, wow, that person's that brand ambassador for their current company. Boy, they enjoy being there, and they would do the same things for us. So companies are more mindful of that nowadays. And like you had mentioned, we're all subject matter experts about various things, right? So what I tell people is write an article about something you're a subject matter expert at in your industry, because if I'm that hiring manager and I see you've written that article, maybe I have a better understanding of your understanding of that industry or what you're discussing, and I would never have known that unless I got on the phone with you, for an interview or whatever. So there's various things you can share, but if you're new to LinkedIn, you need to engage with other content, with other people to then kind of build your network. Because, yes, if you only have 100 followers, you're probably not going to get much engagement on your post. I would spend more of your time engaging with other people's content.
So that means commenting, liking, sharing,
Yes.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Answering all the fun polls that everybody posts.
Yeah, I know. And, we'll talk about polls. Polls work. Polls are really good because, the person voting is almost giving you permission to kind of like follow up with them later based on how they answered it.
Yeah.
So, strategic. Polls are very strategic and can be very useful for, multiple reasons.
I could see like with safety professionals, like if they're in the middle of like, I'm creating an incentive program, should I do this, this, or this? And even creating a poll and throwing it on LinkedIn and seeing what everybody is like. But bringing it back to safety professionals, we are a profession that there aren't that many of us in the United States. In fact, it is growing. The last time I checked the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they said that we had about 120,000 in the U.S. So it's definitely growing. I know when I started, most companies needed to have like 200 employees before they had a dedicated safety professional. And now it's getting to the point that most industrial employees would have one. So we're getting there. But how do you suggest that a safety professional kind of find their people on there? Like find the people that they could connect with, especially if they're starting out with only like 5 followers or something like that. One of them being their mom, I'm sure.
Right. Not my mom anyway, but yes, no. So on LinkedIn search parameters, searching tools are so easy but so effective. You could go into the search bar and just type a job title. Type your job title, right? And then after you do that, then you select people. And then you could search by, country. You could search by company if you wanted to. That is the easiest way. In seconds, you will find those people to connect and engage with. And again, job title, people, maybe location, based on state or country or whatever. And then you could even filter for company. Within seconds, you'll find those people. Reach out to some of them, just engage with their content or follow them. LinkedIn's, database of 800 million, it really is a database. And the searching to find those people, it's so easy.
I will tell you, somebody did that with me here locally. Totally different industries. I'm in safety. I believe that she is in wellness or something like that. But she reached out to me because she found me on a search. And I was like, hey, you want to grab coffee? And we actually just met at a local coffee shop after connecting on LinkedIn. We kind of went back and forth on a conversation on LinkedIn for a couple of weeks. And then I was like, hey, I generally go to this coffee shop. Why don't we meet up? And it was her favorite as well. And, it ended up creating a real life in-person connection as opposed to just an online one. And I could see people doing that within their own towns as well. Like seeing the industries in your town. Like for me locally, we have a Chewy warehouse, a FedEx, and Amazon. Those are our signature brands, right? So, I want to see the safety people there. Let me try to connect with them on LinkedIn. And that could be a way to easily start those conversations, which are sometimes hard if you just did it by the phone, right?
Oh, yes. And think about it. I mean, where else? I mean, unless it was at some type of networking event or annual event. And if it's an annual event, it's only with your company, not somebody else's, right? So, yes. I mean, I live in a fairly smaller community. So, sometimes that isn't. But most people, live near you can really narrow that search down to, cities on LinkedIn when you're doing that search. So that is a great way. And that's what you do. You go back and forth a little bit. Then all of a sudden you're like, okay, come on, let's just meet for coffee or do so, right?
Yeah.
So yes, try to at least, do a Zoom call if they live far away or in your case. But LinkedIn is a networking event and most people are very giving. They're going to answer a question or at least respond back to you. At least that's what I have found LinkedIn to be, a very warm, giving community.
You are so right there. And safety professionals in general, I find, are always giving anyway. Like, you never have to make anything from scratch. If you just reach out on LinkedIn or even some of the Facebook groups, you post your question and people are going to be like, here's all my stuff, copy it, you know?
Sure.
Rip off and duplicate is pretty much our standard. So that's pretty awesome. So what features do you think are the best ones on LinkedIn? We've been talking a lot about posting and engaging,
Sure.
but I know that there's some other features too. Are there anything that you think people should be trying out?
Sure. So you had mentioned something that somebody, found you in a search, and you found me in a search. That's because the headline, and that's under your name, is the most valuable real estate on your LinkedIn profile. Most value. If you did nothing, and we tested this a year ago, so we know this to be true, you don't put, I'm a, safety manager at Walmart there and leave that like that. Here's why. You can actually add a ton of characters in that space, about 3 lines of text. You would want to put safety manager excelling at, and then those high-level skills that you possess, high-level skills. It doesn't need to be written in the form of a sentence. You can use these vertical lines like on mine to kind of break it up. But you will be found in better searches when you put valuable content there. If you're a project manager at Amazon, it's project manager excelling at, maybe product management, Six Sigma, whatever. And a laundry list of high-level skills, not, customer service, but those high-level skills or certificates that you possess. You will show up in better recruiter searches or any search when it's more related to, if you just, all you have to do is think of this. How would somebody, or how would you go about finding somebody that does what you do? What would you think would be those keywords and key skills? That's what you need and want to put in that headline.
I love that tip. Mine says something like host of the Safety Geek podcast and VPP specialist or something like that too. Sure. I love that term, excels at. That is such a key term for somebody who is using LinkedIn just to promote themselves and their skills. Sure. So definitely, that is an awesome tip. If somebody was looking for work, how would they use LinkedIn?
Okay. Well, same thing, about in the headline. But think of this. The featured section, most people don't even know it exists. The featured section allows you to share photos, links to websites, links to articles. Maybe there was this big project that you were a part of and it's mentioned on a website. Or maybe you're not mentioned by name, but it still mentions the project or something you're tied to. Adding things to the featured section gives social proof of some of the same things that you're saying about yourself, maybe on your resume. Again, could be a photo of you volunteering, could be a photo of you at a ribbon cutting, or just whatever. But I mean, there are so many things that you can do to really stand out, and most people are not adding anything to the featured section. So that just means, somebody comes to your profile, they're stopping and looking. I know when I go to somebody's profile and they have something in that featured section, I'm definitely stopping and taking a look, because I generally learn that I'm going to learn more about that individual. So
it's a great way to show off your portfolio, which is interesting that you bring that up, because in the Safety Network this month, we do 6 advanced trainings every year. And the very first one is going to be creating your portfolio and I never thought about the LinkedIn aspect of it. I have different ways that I use my portfolio and share it. And I'm like, I know, because I've interviewed hundreds of safety managers, nobody does this. And I'm like, we need to our work. And I love that LinkedIn allows you to do that, because you can even upload PDFs in there too, correct?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I think you have to take your LinkedIn profile is almost like your own free personal branding website. You can share so much more than most people realize they can.
So what habits do you think people should have around LinkedIn? Like, are we just going in there daily like we do Facebook and scrolling? I know you do, because you already said that. But like a normal person whose job is not to help people on LinkedIn, how should they be using it?
Sure. I think that you follow either, businesses, organizations, maybe people that that you like. And whether you use it every day or every so many days, you got to check your messages because you might get a good one in there. You don't want to miss it. But whether it's, twice a week, I'm going to go in there and engage for 20 minutes. I'm going to take a little bit of time away from some of the other social media. I'm going to engage with, again, those thought leaders, those company pages that you want to follow. Maybe it's your the company that you're with or somebody else. I think that is a great way for somebody to kind of start to feel out how they think they want to use their time on LinkedIn. I know that's what I did, and then but the more I did it, the more I just spent on LinkedIn. But we're all subject matter expert about various things. Share that in a post, share that in an article, or share that in the comments of a post that you saw that asked for some feedback or a poll. When you engage and comment something that is very authentic and you took some time, not just, hey, nice post, good job, but you actually took some thought in responding, that's when other people see it and might want to follow you or connect with you. Or the author wants some engagement, right? That's why they posted. Yeah. So, maybe set a timer and spend a certain amount of time, but you don't have to spend a lot of time. But I would say engaging I still to this day engage way more than I post, even though I post and comment and respond on my post as well. But I engage with the other people that that I've built relationships with on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think that's kind of important. And I think that when you're on LinkedIn, that it's not the same as other social media. Like for me, going on LinkedIn during working hours, I'm building my network. I'm learning about my profession. I'm connecting with other companies. It's not that same like waste of time as scrolling through TikTok or Reels or something like that, right? So maybe your employer wouldn't even mind you doing it because you're going to get something out of it. But I love the idea. I attended this training one time where they said, block the time out on your calendar to do research, like industry research. And I was like, yeah, I do that. But like, what about blocking out that 20 minutes, like you said, twice a week, just to have that little reminder of let's check in with LinkedIn, because building your network is just as important as learning the skills to do your job. So I love that. So anyway, I wanted to thank you because you have agreed to teach a masterclass in my brand new professional development community, the Safety Network. So I am super excited, and you've kind of like given us some tidbits over what you're going to teach us. So the class is going to be in the Safety Network. Can you tell us what you will be teaching on that day?
Sure. I'm really we're going to start at the top of everybody's LinkedIn profile, go down to the bottom. We're going to talk about some networking best practices, especially for job seekers. But we're going to really talk about the hows and the whys, and hopefully get some time to maybe answer some questions. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy doing that. But most people don't realize all the things they can share or even place on their LinkedIn profile. And I hope during that time, I'm going to answer way more than people will have to go back and watch it, I'm sure, or take really fast notes, because again, there's so much more that you can share on your LinkedIn profile that's going to just make you different. And if you want to learn how to network and you're not looking for a job, you're going to learn that as well.
Yeah, David's already warned me that he has so much information to share. I'm probably going to have him back on in the group in a few months from now. So definitely be prepared to take notes. And he has also shared with me that you can volunteer and he can tear apart your LinkedIn profile during this training. So if you want to put your hand up and say, yeah, I'll be the guinea pig for David's training, make sure that you email me at support@thesafetygeek.com before March 29th, and we will select a few people to actually be David's guinea pig as he goes through their LinkedIn profiles. I am not putting my hand up on this one. I am not doing it.
let's make sure that they are, I mean, let's make sure that they definitely need some, help, because it'll be easier to, and I'll compare something to somebody else's or whatever, but because we want to share, what maybe a great profile could potentially look like. But a lot of times, again, it's just people don't realize what they can actually share. So they'll be quite amazed. They'll be quite amazed during the presentation.
That's amazing. So thank you so much for chatting with me today. This has been super fun. How can listeners learn more about you and your business, and what if they wanted to reach out to you personally and get some help with their career coaching? Because I know you do way more than just LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. I am on various platforms, but very active on LinkedIn. If you message me or send me a connection request, I still can accept about 7,000 more connections, and then I max out. You max out at 30.
What's the max?
I know it sounds bad. You max out at 30,000. You can have unlimited followers, like I have 70,000 followers, but I only have like 23-ish thousands. But you connect with me, DM me, message me. I'm more than happy to provide any advice or guidance, or schedule a call if you think you might need some extra help.
And we will definitely put links to David's website as well as his LinkedIn profile in the show notes. And I will tell you, I can attest to this, because I literally was doing this on the fly at an evening, way after hours, when I messaged David the first time, and he responded so quickly. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So definitely, if you need some help, reach out to him, because he does some great things. So did you have anything else that you wanted to share, David?
I think they come to the event to learn more.
Awesome. All righty. Well, thank you so much. And I will be chatting with you again on March 29th. And I hope to see all of you there in the Safety Network. Bye for now.